Joe Rogan hits back after criticism from The View. Dragon believer. Okay, let's get to some real news. Jesus Christ. No wonder people don't want to watch liberal media, man. This sucks. I mean, everything sucks for the most part, and the coverage is not great. Okay, Elon and Trump are definitely doing it together. You think they're having gay sex?
Right. Basically, to this guy Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons. He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes, I did. And he also thinks that dragons, like I guess like dinosaur type of animals, roamed the earth when people did.
Rogan really leaning into this one by changing his ex-bio to quote dragon believer. Joe Concha is a Fox News contributor, and he joins us now. Joe, this is so up Joe Rogan's alley in terms of what he finds funny. To first of all be called a dragon believer, and also to be accused of being an unreliable source of information by the ladies of The View. So what is your reaction to all of this?
Oh, yes, Carly. We should absolutely trust The View and not the guy.
I mean, okay, you guys want to understand something? This is the reason why Fox News' ratings are infinitely better than the liberal media ratings. Okay? Here's why. Because they're both talking about nonsense. Okay? But at least this is entertaining nonsense. Do you see what I mean? Like, the nonsense that we just watched on CNN is like the minor differences between Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, and how we should take these guys seriously, and how they're going to, I don't know, possibly improve the federal government or maybe ruin it. Whereas these guys are just like, Joe Rogan, look at these dumbasses who say Joe Rogan believes in dragons. He only believes in dragons a little bit.
Guy who revolutionized the world with electric cars, SpaceX. I could go on with the accomplishments of Elon Musk. I have a question. Do stupid people get to a point in life where they realize that they're, stupid? Because this is what panic sounds like in legacy media. I've said this before in this program. It's worth repeating again because it's so disturbing. The View is under the ABC News umbrella. ABC News is run by a woman named Dana Walden. Dana Walden is Kamala Harris's very best friend. They lived right near each other in Brentwood, California when she was a senator there. Dana Walden set up Kamala Harris on a blind date with Doug Emhoff, who she obviously is now married to. And now this is what the result is of Dana Walden running ABC News. You have people like Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg under the ABC News umbrella losing their mind.
I need to know. I need to actually dive deeper into this Joe Rogan dragon shit. We're in hell. We might as well enjoy it. Does anybody have the clip? Where did this Joe Rogan dragon stuff come from? Where is it coming from? Yahoo.com is the only article that's readily available for this important piece of news. Joe Rogan ups the ante with his View feud with evidence that dragons existed. That's not a sentence that makes much of... Joe Rogan is doubling down on his... Okay, this is from his podcast. Okay, let's start here first. So, were dragons real animals? I think he's trolling, right? Evidence dragons were real, full documentary. Like, I don't think he actually thinks dragons are real. Wait, this clip is literally from 2019. I was going to say Joe Rogan talking about like whether or not dragons are real or not doesn't seem like new Joe Rogan. It seems like good Joe Rogan, old Joe Rogan, which is why I was a little confused. And when you scroll down, you realize, oh no, this is like, it's not the best Joe Rogan, because the best Joe Rogan is like 2016 era, I think, before Milo Yiannopoulos. Pre-Milo Joe Rogan, like white supremacists are always going to be able to, white supremacists always have an opportunity to come and speak to millions of people on my podcast, Joe Rogan. But this is definitely an older version of Joe Rogan. That was still kind of, fun. Yeah. I mean, the person who's describing to him the dragon stuff is also not a believer or a committed believer to the dragon theory. What is this? Do you think he'll ever acknowledge you? How hard would you have to insult him? No, Joe Rogan will never acknowledge me because I have insulted him far too much. But I think this is like this is the exact type of conversation Joe Rogan used to have that wasn't like damaging or dangerous at all. It was just like fun conspiracies that that we all like to entertain. Okay, every now and then. I've done it too. I've done the Mud Fossil University. I've like sarcastically aligned myself with this notion. If you recall, like this isn't. I think this type of shit is fun and totally acceptable. Like, oh yeah, maybe dragons were real. Versus, there's a cabal of pedophilic Jews that control the media and are also simultaneously, beaming pornography into your brains and also doing unlimited amounts of third world immigration into the country. Okay, like that is not so fun. That type of conspiratorial thinking is fascist and not good. And I feel like we moved on from the haha funny, cute, who knows, maybe dragons did exist. Imagine a world where they did type of conspiracy theories to the second type. I mean, he's not even arguing for this. He's not arguing for this position. He very clearly said he doesn't believe this, but he thinks it's like a fun, cool conspiracy. Also, what's hilarious about this is that like the current existing birds are the closest, I think, genetically to dinosaurs. So I don't really understand where we're going with that one. You're out of your depth on this, bro. Yeah. Relevant Peterson clip trying to convince Dawkins on the biological. Oh, yeah. So Alex O'Connor, I saw a bunch of clips from this. And well, first of all, this is a let them fight situation because I don't like Richard Dawkins. And I like Jordan Peterson even less. But on this issue, like I am offering critical support to Richard Dawkins, even though he is the most annoying type of like r/Reddit atheist who has even in recent years said he's culturally Christian. Okay. Unc Cook, not going to lie. Joy Behar says Joe Rogan believes in dragons and that's why he's not reliable, whereas The View is very reliable. They thought Biden was young and dynamic, had no problems. Okay, he did cook. I mean, he did cook on this. He's absolutely correct on this. Dinosaurs are also reptiles, Hasan Abi. Pteranodons are another kind of reptile completely different from dinosaurs and not dinos. I'm an unemployed paleontologist. Please, this is the only thing I'm good for. This is semantics, but birds aren't just the closest thing to dinosaurs we have. They literally are dinosaurs. They're the dinosaurs that survived. Yeah, that's what I thought too. The Adam King Show. Why couldn't you speak prior to the election results? Why now do you defend what you clearly felt for a long time? This right here is the perfect demonstration of how right-wing mania works, by the way. Shaky Gurga, Chunk Weigert, okay, my uncle, was a very prominent critic of Joe Biden, okay? Myself and Cenk and many other commentators on the leftist sphere to the liberal sphere in independent media routinely yelled about Joe Biden being 800 years old. But this guy is fantasizing about a position that Cenk never actually held. Now, all evidence points to the exact contrary of this. And yet that hasn't stopped 700 people from liking this because nobody cares about the truth. He literally ran for office so that he could get others to realize that Joe Biden is too old and maybe give them the courage to run within the Democratic Party, knowing full well that it was a, constitutional battle that he would not win anyway because he's not born in the United States. I said Biden was too old. I started a petition to get him out of the race 14 months ago and even ran against him in the primary. I'm pretty sure I did all I could. Yeah. And that's what's crazy. These people do not care. Like, people are doubling down. What primary? Are we pretending we had one now? This might be the biggest own I've ever seen for those in election cope. Wait, everyone's favorite Hebrew, Jew haters beware, found at Infowars ban.video, DM for media inquiries. This guy's an Infowars guy? Oh, I hate this shit, man. I hate it so much. People are just like arguing against the truth and they don't give a narrative is significantly more important than the truth, okay?
The dragon fight to
well,
fighting,
how many dragons have
Satan.
you overcome in your life?
I'm not interested in dragons. I'm interested in reality.
Okay, so I read a book a while back that described the the biological reality of the dragon. Say, well, there's no such thing as a dragon. It's like, okay, is there such a thing as a predator?
Of course.
Well, that's a meta category. What's the category of predator? Bear, eagle, if you're a primate. Fire? Is fire a predator?
No.
Well, it's complicated because a fire kills you. So is there a worse predator than serpentine, flying, fire-breathing reptile? Is that not the imagistic equivalent of predator? If predator is real, in what way isn't dragon real?
So a dragon is a pictorial representation of the abstracted concept of a predator.
Yes.
But when you say the
Dude, this is such a funny. I'm sorry. God, the debate space is such a joke, dude. It's like this reads as a parody, and they are not parodying like the worst aspects of debate culture. They are unironically engaging in this like hyper intellectualized, very sincere argument about whether or not Jordan Peterson literally believes dragons exist, or if he's actually simply saying that the dragon is a representation of the apex predator. Like, I just don't like, how can you sit down with Jordan Peterson and have a sincere conversation like this? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
biology of a dragon, you must understand how that can be misleading.
I don't think the category of dragon is any less valid than the category of lion.
Any less biological?
Well, it depends on your level of analysis.
I'm embarrassed to admit that I watched all of this and it's pretty much all the way through. Yeah, no, I saw clips of this and I thought it was really funny. I derive entertainment from this conversation that Alex Cooper presented. Okay, but not in a way, not in the way that other people I think understood it. Okay. Oh, this is a direct convo that he had with Jordan B. Peterson. Hold on. Yahweh is acting like a tribal war god. God is a delusion. Oxford Union speech. Ben Shapiro versus Alex O'Connor. Is religion good for society? Debate theism versus. Oh God, this shit pops off. By the way, this shit bangs on TikTok, I think, and it certainly bangs on YouTube as well. I don't know. It is so outside of my field of interest. I don't know how else to describe it. What is this? That's your problem. Dawkins versus Peterson. Okay, here, let's
Richard
look
asked you before about the difference between a story or an idea naturally evolving over the course of numerous manuscripts and throughout human history, and the idea of it being divinely inspired. And
you've never had a teenage existential crisis? You know the shit goes hard if you're stupid. I think this is like one step above like truly stupid guys. Okay? I think like this is a stupid guy who's at least on a journey to not be as stupid, but thinks instead of reading books, you watch this video and your takeaway is that you're smarter for it. If that makes sense. Alex O'Connor and Hasan is not a crossover I expected. I should reach out to him when I'm in Oxford, when I'm in London, when I'm in England. If he's out there, I don't know. And do a sit down. Alex O'Connor's a smart man. I'm biased because I'm a Brit too, but he's all we have in this space. I don't hate him. I think he is. I mean, there's definitely a lot more. I have a long list of British people that I admire before we get to someone like him. I don't know the full scope of his commentary, but having said that, he does give off, and maybe I'm totally off base with this, but he does give off r/atheism vibes. Like my opinion on religion is pretty well known at this point. I hope that you guys understand it. It's just like live and let live. People believe a whole bunch of hokum that I don't believe in, and I don't fault them for it as long as it's like offering some level of guidance in their lives. But most importantly, as long as they don't use that to manipulate other people's existence and use that to harm other people. That's it. Does that make sense? Like, I don't care. I'm not invested in like trying to atheist pill you at all. Does that make sense? Pretty sure his education is in theology. I think isn't he philosophy? He's a philosophy nerd, isn't he? He isn't. He is nuanced on the theism now. He studied theology. I thought he was a philosophy guy. Why are you going to Oxford, England? Why are you going to Oxford? Don't worry about it. He has degrees in philosophy and theology. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Would you ever get a massage from a man? Yeah. I need powerful hands to rub this body up and down.
And you were seeming to imply that these are almost interchangeable concepts.
Isn't the problem that people dismiss science because of religion? Isn't this the biggest issue we have? So many people ignoring reality like climate change. I mean, I think that reactionary tendency doesn't specifically come from, doesn't exclusively come from religion. There are plenty of non-religious people that also are, climate deniers, climate change deniers, like hyper focusing on religion. I think in this instance is just like,
concepts. Now, if that's the case, when you say that this divine spirit behind the Bible is actually just the way that it has evolved throughout the human history, throughout the different manuscripts that we've had, then saying that that is what divinity is, I think for you may drag the mundane up into the realm of divinity. But I think for people like Richard and for many people listening, what it does instead is drags the divine down to the realm of the mundane.
Very well put, yes.
Well, I don't know why it would drag the divine down into the realm of the mundane if we're speaking of something like the straight and narrow path of harmony between multiple modes of being. I don't think it doesn't make any difference to me whether it's the material reaching upward or the divine descending downward. I don't think there's any difference between those two things.
You don't. That's exactly right. That's the problem.
Well, I don't.
You don't see the difference.
like, this is nerd on nerd violence, dude. This is nerd on nerd violence. This is a crime. Okay, I'm all in favor of Jordan Peterson, though.
Difference.
Well, look at it this way. So, for example, in this conversation, you know this to be the case. Like, there's various ways that this conversation could go sideways, right? Seriously, like either of us could try to win. Either of us could try to demonstrate our intellectual superiority, right? Each of us could misrepresent the other. Or we could both try, and I do think we are in fact trying that, and I think Alex is helping.
Hopefully they united on their hatred for Islamo-leftism at the end of this process. You know what I mean? Real bipartisanship and compromise was found on this day. I hope.
Along with that, just fine. We could try to follow the thread of the exploratory truth and see if we could get somewhere. Now, I don't think there is any difference between that, by the way, and what's expressed in the biblical texts as the spirit of the Logos. That's why we have dialogue.
I'm very interested in the possibility that truths emerge through evolving manuscripts. Now, that's a very interesting idea, and it's totally different from divine inspiration. And I want to pursue it because I don't believe in divine inspiration, but I would be prepared to believe in evolving manuscripts.
Well, I would say.
Yes, the big issue is when atheists misattribute all of the world's problems to religion. It's an idealist view. When the materialist worldview, religion is a simple tool used by both the oppressors and the oppressed for various reasons. Exactly. Religion is a tool. And the greatest example of this is Christianity being used to both uplift and defend the white supremacist construct of chattel slavery, and also Christianity being used as a guiding principle in liberation theology that played a formative role in the abolition of slavery. I just don't I like it if it's being used as a galvanizing factor for good causes, such as the abolition of slavery. I don't like it when it's used as a reason to uphold unjustifiable constructs that are inhumane, like chattel slavery. That's it. This is my major. I think this is what separates me from all the r/atheism people, is that they're like, no, you don't understand. Like, it's just religion. It's only religion. It's the religion. And also we should actively try to convert religious people to be atheists. Oh, my logic. Oh, my science. Instead of saying, God bless you after you sneeze, I say, science bless you, sir. It may not be a problem in California. As someone in Oklahoma, the religion is the problem. Yeah, totally. You're right.
This is why I had set forward the possibility.
The irony, of course, I think, with people that say, no, it's just religion that is the problem, is that you're doing the same thing that the dumbasses are doing on the other side. Okay? Right-wing Christians look at that and go, no, religion is the solution, and you hyper focus on religion, it's not religion. Okay? It's capitalism. One example I can give you is that while the underlying material realities have gotten worse in comparison to like where they could be, especially when you look at the wealth disparity in this country and the gap widening. Religion, on the other hand, religiosity in America has gone down. It's actually gone down so consistently. Atheists, in spite of their annoying attitude, are winning this battle. But they're not necessarily winning this battle because they're making convincing arguments. Okay? That's because of Bill Maher's hit movie? Yeah. Atheists and agnostics are winning the battle. And I think it's because religion plays a formative role in uncovering certain truths about nature that science is, at this stage, incapable of addressing. And as science ends up figuring out certain truths to the best of its ability, then there's less space for religion in that process. This is why I think a lot of religious people happen to be anti-science. What? That has been debunked? What do you mean? Get debunked on, Unc. Militant atheism is teenage. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely way more of a r/atheism type of guy when I was much younger back in the day. Like, I still recall trying to debate my religion teacher in 3rd grade in Turkey on why our religion class wasn't teaching any other religions and only teaching Islam, and even going so far as to fail said class because on the test I would draw a mosque rather than answer any of the religion questions. That's how much of a annoying little I was. Sınıf bayağı erkenmiş, evet. All the way up until high school. I think that was literally the first, I'm packing on a bunch of different experiences that I had throughout my development. It's not just all from 3rd grade. It's just, that's the first thing I remember from my childhood, being an angry baby and thinking, ooh, I'll be super cool and stand up against my teacher. I think it's also because he had vibes, you know what I mean? Y'all don't know about r/atheism in Turkey, okay? Turkish people, holy I'm willing to bet that a big chunk of the reason as to why so many people are not as religious any longer is because of how annoying people who teach religion are when they're growing up. That's why so many Catholics since birth are just like totally out of the religion. And that's probably why so many adult reverts and adult converts have deep levels of zealotry and fundamentalism. J.D. Vance, Michael Pence are two that immediately come to mind. That's why it's so funny to see a adult convert of Catholicism. When you're a kid, you're like, this shit boring as bro, I don't care about this. Like, I want to go play basketball outside or some shit. You know what I mean? Why the do I have to sit through this? My time could be best served watching anime, please. You know? I dislike militant atheists almost as much as the hyper religious. Yeah, militant atheists are so goddamn annoying. I'm sorry.
Of taking a look, particularly at Mircea Eliade, because that's where you'd find the best work. He's brilliant. I believe that if you studied the history of religious ideas, it's a 3-volume manuscript, or The Sacred and the Profane, which is probably his single best work, that you'd see profound analogies between the manner in which you've been construing the world by.
Y'all just hate evangelicals? What do you mean? Oh, okay, listen. Chatters. Militant atheists are really annoying, and Richard Dawkins is like the perfect reason why I despise militant atheists, because militant atheists also, in their idealistic liberal notion of religion being the end all be all and the anti-religious movement being the solution to all of society's problems that they foresee, end up reinforcing a ton of white supremacist constructs, Islamophobia being the key thing. Okay. Dawkins is awesome. He's just saying the truth, not a militant. Am I crazy? Isn't Dawkins also, one, a transphobe, and two, recently admitted that he was culturally Catholic or some shit? He said he was like culturally Christian. Richard Dawkins, among many of these like new wave atheists, is like a not exactly a good guy. He's a bit of a weirdo. Sam Harris is another one.
Biologically,
I would say he's not as big as a weirdo as this guy, but like I said, there's a lot of stuff that they agree on.